Number 8, Jack Riewoldt. Jack Riewoldt. Jack Riewoldt.
Congratulations. You're my favourite player.
Oh, thanks so much.
Congratulations, you're a legend.
He loved Richmond. He genuinely cared about the club, its people, the players, and the Tiger Army embraced him wholeheartedly.
Jack puts it through. He's the man for the big occasion.
I tried to jump on Jack Sinclair on the weekend, and that was probably the moment that I realised it was all over. That I've gone from kneeing blokes maybe in the back of the head or on the shoulders. I think I might have got him just above the tailbone.
His competitiveness, his football intelligence was catalytic, I guess, in transforming the fortunes of our club on field. Since 1885, we've had many, many great players at this footy club.
The Tigers are going to win the premiership.
Jack sits comfortably, like Trent last week, at the very upper echelon, at the cream.
The new hero. All the applause are for you, Jack.
This week's going to be, I suppose, an emotional cocktail, really, of happiness, sadness. There's an element of grieving in there as well, which sounds really silly, but there is, and smiles and laughs, but ultimately it'll be the reflection on what is, in 17 years, a lifetime of memories.
The new hero through to the departing champion, and all that was amassed along the way, a legacy that will live large at Punt Road for years to come, and indeed with us here on AFL 360. Jack Riewoldt, congratulations and welcome.
Thanks, boys. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a long day. It's been a long day, and I suppose after 17 years now, it's time for me to sail off into the sunset, have one final hurrah with my my mate that's been by my side for 16 years in Koch, my captain, and I'm really looking forward to finishing up and celebrating our careers on Saturday.
That was a magnificent video footage. Do you ever get sick and tired, or how have you got used to watching yourself on TV?
It's an interesting question, because we sort of do it for a job. Like, we watch edits every week. But I mean, I look at that and I know how much effort goes into putting together something like that, so I probably look at it from a different lens, and even
from a production value.
Yeah, well, I just think even from like the club's point of view, they put so much effort and time into, let's say, honouring myself, and then as they did for Trent last week, you know that there's a lot of sort of hard yards have been put into putting together packages like that. So you really appreciate the fact that someone's taken the time to do that for me, and they did it for Trent last week too.
When you see the spiky-haired kid with a head full of dreams, like how tangible is that to you? Does it feel like a long time ago?
No, that's the thing that's probably caught me off guard a little bit, is that how recent that feels. And I spoke to, obviously announced today to the guys that this would be my last week at the football club, my last game this weekend, that I still remember getting on the Spirit of Tasmania, sorry. I'd driven to Devonport with my mum. I had a purple combi, and I was standing on the top deck waving goodbye to her as she stood on the river's edge there. And I was an absolute mess, because I was going into a little bit of the unknown. I obviously had lived at home till then, and I still have great supportive parents. I was leaving behind my girlfriend Carly at the time, now my wife, and I was going off on this really big adventure by myself for a period of time, and it was pretty daunting. Like, as much as I was so excited to be drafted and so excited to be going over to the mainland to play footy for Richmond, I still had this really strong feeling of loneliness a little bit and isolation, because I was just a kid from the island of Tasmania going out to the wider world to go and give it a crack.
I watched you in the under-18 championship game at Marvel that I was sitting with the recruiter. He goes, "That's Nick Riewoldt's cousin." And you're like, were you playing wing? Was it?
I played centre half back for a lot of my
junior
footy, yeah.
And then for Clarence in the Premiership, you played centre half forward as a 17-year-old.
Yeah, played. I was lucky enough to start playing seniors for Clarence when I was 15. That's the club that my father played 297 games at, and the best and fairest is named after him. So that's literally 5 drop punts down the road from where we live. We grew up at Belrive Oval, where Clarence is based, and I started playing there when I was 15. I played in a losing grand final when I was 16, and the last game I ever played of footy in Tasmania for Clarence was a winning premiership against New Norfolk against Glenorchy, and that was it was a really special occasion, and I think back to playing in premierships. I've been to a premiership reunion in 2016 for Clarence, and I look forward to the premiership reunions rolling around for 17, 19 and 20.
So that's when it started, and we'll go intermittently through your career. Was there a moment, like, to be honest, I'm sure you spoke to Jared, you spoke to me, you asked me the question, should you go on? And we had a chat about it. I'm sure you spoke to a lot of other people, and they would have said yes, no. When did it dawn on you that, like, when did you make the decision, and what was the actual reason?
I think it's probably been... Look, to be honest, it's probably been from the start of the season that I've known that this would more than likely be my last year. Because I look at where, like, I could have played on, but to what sort of detriment to myself? Like, I don't want to get halfway through a season next year and be like, oh, I'm sick of this. And I really do believe that the club now is in its next era. You think of probably the 5 most important people at the football club over the last 6 years have been probably Brendan Gale, Dimmer, myself, Trent and Dustin, and only Dustin and
Peggy, I'd say.
Peggy as well, sorry. Yep. There's only 2 of them still there now, so now's this time for this next generation of players that have sat under great leadership. Arguably one of the greatest captains to have ever captained in the AFL in Trent Cotchin, and a couple of offsiders in myself and Rancy who tried to help him along the way, and obviously the leadership of Peggy and Brendan is now they get the opportunity to transform it into the next era of Richmond and the next generation of Richmond, and they'll take things from what we've taught them and learnings of what we've taught them, but they get to rediscover and rebrand themselves, and that'll happen under a new coach, whether that's Andrew McQualter or someone else who's going through the process at the moment.
What did you learn along the way? So you arrived as a brash kid who wanted to kick goals, and you depart as one of the great team men and leaders whilst amassing that CV, having kicked all those goals and entertained. What do you reckon you learnt along the way?
I learned a lot. Yeah, certainly learned a lot. I was only looking at the montage of me running away from the cameras that I learnt that if you get in trouble, you walk out the front door and you face your fears and you face the music straight away. I think the element of storytelling is probably the thing that I've learned the most, is that all great cultures, whether they be in sport, life, countries or whatever it is, are built around the art of storytelling and being able to, get a group up, tell the story of your own club, introduce and educate new stories, whether they be about NFL champions that have done certain things and there's a correlation between that, or, I mean, we went down the path of Spanish conquistadors in 2017 and Hernando Cortez, who burned all his boats when he took his army to go and find this Caribbean treasure, and that's the stuff that, like, it's made me who I am today. I've been taught so many lessons, and not all of them are on the field. The majority of them are off the field, and they mould you into the person that you are. Every little story, every little meeting with and passing by of every single person that's walked past me and through the doors of the Richmond Football Club, walked past me on the streets, has had an impact on my life, and they mould you into the person you are.
And what about the actual playing of the game? Bob used to talk about putting on the armour and going out to battle with your group. How great was the playing of the game for you?
It's my favourite bit. It's the thing I'll miss the most, is going out and going into, for want of a better word, battle. I love playing, I love competing. It's the thing that's driven me to become a better player, the want to succeed from a personal point of view and play the best that I can play to ultimately play the best for the team. And I mean, I haven't had any really tough moments today or even in the last sort of week when I let the club know that this was my decision, of where I've sort of been like, oh, that's a really hard moment and I feel really emotional about that, or I really miss that. But I've got no doubt that round 1 next year, when Richmond run out against Carlton, that I'll be in the grandstand, maybe somewhere watching and going, oh, I really miss that. But every ex-player probably has that same feeling.